3 or 4 months ago, I would say was some of the hardest period of my life, um, professionally, personally, mentally, super hard. And I'm optimistic that it always gets better, no matter whether everything that's happening around are in your odds or not. You just need to take an action. And if you take even a little action in any direction that you want, you just don't stop in the same point. Opportunities come and things are changing for the best.
You're listening to Foreign Founders. We tell stories of immigrant and first-gen entrepreneurs, investors, operators, and ecosystem builders. And on the show, you hear incredible stories that often go untold. I'm so delighted to have my friend Elizabeth Tishchenko. Elizabeth is a Ukrainian nomad, serial entrepreneur, and AI consultant, currently serving as a CEO of her third startup, FleetMind. She is a Techstar 2023 and Antler 2022 alum. She also teaches AI in business and product management at General Assembly. Elizabeth was previously on episode 10 of Foreign Founders as the co-founder of her company, her previous company, Nevemind. Welcome back to Foreign Founders.
Thank you, Andy. I'm so pleased to be back. And from what I know, I'm the first founder who you basically have in recurrent or second episode with, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. You're my first repeat, and I'm really glad that you're the first.
I appreciate a lot your invitation.
So last time I had you on the show, it was June 2023. I had to look that up. It's been almost 18 months since then. What has happened since June 2023?
Well, a lot. I can, to be honest, imagine that 18 months has passed. When you're building a company, you just like every single day like merges in one, and it feels so recent. So sometimes when people asking me when did you start Nevermind, I cannot admit that it's been actually more than 2 years ago. Yes, I've been mostly fully involved in the Nevermind journey. And we've been touching a lot of points about what we were building and about all the different trends around personal CRM systems. So about a couple of months ago, we officially decided to dissolve the company. That's extremely hard decision for every single startup founder because you take it very seriously and close to your heart. But times changes and opportunities change. So right now I'm focusing on somewhat different areas and different work, and I'd be happy to share as well.
Yeah. Well, this post on your LinkedIn really stood out to me when you made that public announcement, right? You said, quote, "Startups are fucking hard. We all know it. I never thought we'd land in the infamous 9 out of 10 startup statistic. That means like 9 out of 10 startups fail, right?
Yeah.
But here we are, closing, never mind. Failure, question mark? Yeah, but honestly, I'm just glad to have gotten one more out of the way. Statistically, odds are on my side now." So tell me what went through your thought when you wrote that, and also what was that experience finally admitting that you needed to close?
Right. So I guess different individuals, they go through this like breakup in a different way because it's what you mostly dedicate like most of your time, right? Even my best friends were also my co-founders, the people who were closely involved in Nevermind, at least at that period. And for me, I couldn't at first accept the fact that the company is getting closer and there is something else I supposed to be doing. So it's difficult to have this shift. It might be comparable how people like end their relationships, or maybe like they're like losing the job, or the kind of this transitional period, right? And it's like moving from place to place. So it was hard, but for me, this post, it was basically drawing the line in between. I'm not building that startup anymore, and now I'm focused on other things. And I felt we needed to announce that. We needed to tell to everybody, so that they know. And I think I partially wrote it post just for myself, to kind of have this like track record, when it happened, when was that, the moment, when I wrote that. And I guess at the moment when I was writing this, I already moved forward with some of the other opportunities that I was having, and I decided to return back to San Diego. So I attached the picture of that Santa run when I was like closing that finishing line. And then the realization came to me that, you're not your startup. You have so many other things to do and so many new startups to start with. So yeah, I decided to do that, and you feel like much lighter afterwards. And you can imagine how many people actually wrote to me. Some wrote with new opportunities, let's start another company together. Some were just very compassionate, and they just suggested to have a quick call to hear if I need any help, or if I want to brainstorm some new ideas with them. So everybody been extremely supportive and helpful about that decision. But honestly, before, it was in my head, oh my God, like how can I get back to our like potential customers or current customers and say them? How should I like face investors again? So to be honest, everybody in this space, in entrepreneurship space, they know that it's just like one of the thousands events, and there are so many people fail. It's just you don't read frequently about it in social media. So everybody's just like, oh, Ellie, congratulations. Like many people actually wrote to me, congratulations, now you can do something else. So it's very liberating.
It, like you said, it was a moment of liberation in many ways. And I know, I know you drew the sand line in the sand there, and you're doing amazing things. Especially moving forward, doing new opportunities, going to everything. But I don't want to go there quite yet. One of the things I think that's really important, especially for listeners, they a lot of the listeners are in your space when you and I talked last time, when you're a co-founder of Nevermind, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they might not be yet, or in the space that you are today. So one of the things I want to learn from your experience of like, were there any moments throughout that 18 months between that last episode we recorded, and now, or when you closed Nevermind, that you said these were milestones that led to the moment of ultimately closing the company?
Um, I would say when you are in the company building phase, you are somewhat blind to some of the external feedback, or to realizing that some things are not working. So ultimately, as a founder, you have this perseverance, and you're trying to make things work no matter what, no matter of the odds. And I heard a lot of success stories from my fellow founders that, okay, we literally had like 1 month of runway, we thought we are dying, and yet they found some magic wand, like magic way to just turn things around, right? But it doesn't work for everybody. So we definitely had some signals, prerequisites that it might not be working in the long run. But we probably just brushed it off. We ignored that. We wanted to change the course of action, right? And we were constantly trying new things. So it's not like we were stagnant and just stuck. At a certain point, we felt stuck. That's true. And sometimes it's difficult. I would say the most difficult part is to realize, should you persevere more, or should you give up and do something else, or maybe just rebuild the company from scratch, right? These are all valid options. And there are just so many reasons why startup fail. And for us, I couldn't even say a single thing, right? Like why it might not have worked. It's a combination. It's a combination of multiple matters. But closing one journey basically means now you have open opportunities to do other great things.
Yeah. And one of those opportunities, you had the chance to, and currently have the chance to like teach students who are building products, learning to build
Right.
products. Can you tell more about that and what you specialize in?
Right. Recently, I got an opportunity to be instructional associate through a General Assembly. So it's a global organization that teaches like specializing on teaching in different areas, mostly these days in AI, product management, UX, UI design, etc. And I joined another instructor for delivering product management and AI and business course for enterprises. And there are a couple of hopefully potential deliveries that are still upcoming.
Yeah.
And although I've been teacher in the past, not exactly in these areas, and I love the experience, absolutely. It's just sharing the material, seeing how people react, sharing personal experience, and in a very specific, processed way, bearing in mind you have just like a couple of hours and you want them to get tangible hands-on experience, not just theoretical one, also practical. We do also a lot of practical exercise as well. And for me, it also helped to structure better my knowledge in product management as well as in AI for business, because this space is just like rapidly changes. You can't
Hmm.
keep up with the latest like LLM models and what is happening around. And what I'm trying to ingrain in people's heads is that AI is more than just a hype, and how do
Hmm.
they understand where it's useful and where it is not, because I feel there are so many ways they could suffice without this like magic AI word that right now has been like heavily overused. So to understand how to optimize the processes for your business or for your like personal work, so that's what I'm trying to teach.
And when you're teaching AI, what are or AI business processes for enterprise and product building there? You've seen the process. You've built companies in AI. What is different, maybe as a founder, or maybe that you're teaching like product builders that was maybe like 24 months ago or longer about AI?
Oh, it's a good question. Um, the different is that there are so many tools available these days that can help you out in so many more tags than you used to. And although in some areas it's still like dangerous probably to use for data privacy, for data privacy of like enterprises especially, so you have to be very cautious what you're using and how you're using it. But for multiple personal users and as well for professional like limited users, there are so many great things you could do. I could give you an example as a product manager.
Hmm.
There are multiple like low coding tools available. Maybe you heard about some as a like cursor, N88, Bolt, and so much more. There is like Lovably, I think it's also like Norwegian startup. So they all can enable you within less than a week from scratch build various prototypes and MVPs without even having a need to hire engineering teams. So what
Yeah.
would it mean for product managers and also entrepreneurs is that almost in no time you can build a simple proof of concept and potentially gain your first customers or test various features that you would like to add. So you don't
Yeah.
need anymore to give the job to engineers and let them develop something for a month or two, but you can just do it single-handedly yourself. You just need to spare a bit of time, right? And it doesn't require much of technical knowledge. You could use AI to regenerate the code. Usually, what I would suggest, you just throw away this piece of code that you build your first MVP based on,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
focus on building more like secure and scalable solution. But I would say that's a completely different task, right? So
Yeah.
I wish that at the beginning, when we were building Nevermind, we had more access to those tools so that we could rapidly create those proof of concept and save so much more time.
Hmm.
So I would say that is some of the like biggest difference. And I'm not even going to jump into a personal use case scenarios because like people are now using it in so many ways, like generating content, creating videos, generating pictures. So right now, like I'm not sure what's going to be future for stock images,
Yeah.
especially paid versions, because now you could generate like pretty much everything. But I would say still quality and accuracy is to be improved. But I predict it's going to happen in a matter of years,
Yeah.
not centuries.
The prototyping aspect is so interesting. Um, over the holidays, I just had a lot of time, at home on the computer. So I was like playing around with so many different tools. And I tweeted at one of the things was like, I remember 10 years ago, I was learning how to code in Swift to create these like really simple, stupid like iOS apps, right? Like alarm clock apps or like all these things. And it took me weeks or even months to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And now I can do that before my coffee gets cold, which to me was such a holy crap moment.
Yes.
So as a non-technical person, that was super cool. And like you said, if you're using as a like a scaling solution or solutions that customer use it daily, it probably will break and not be great. But
Mm-hmm.
for that first step, it's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah, I just wanted to briefly give you a note. I became a part of some local AI communities here in San Diego, and we basically sat and with a cursor and a little bit of ChatGPT help, we managed to create from scratch a website for our community in under 15 minutes. It required a couple of iterations, but it was mind-blowing experience. And it's just the fact that out of nothing you have something and it just designs for you, it creates all the content for you. You just have to be specific enough, but utilizing the right tools for the right functionality, for the right task, you could do mind-blowing things. It's now more about the knowledge. What are you going to use? How are you going to use? But I would say even these days, all these materials are available out there. There are so many indie hackers right now building apps by themselves as a solo founders, and they manage to distribute that, attaches like simple payment stripe system, and they already like making some monthly revenue that is capable of supporting them. So
yeah,
it's extremely mind blowing what is it capable of. I also tested the AI operator that right now like recently got available, and we tried giving to the operator interesting task of getting us concert for the one band and
yeah.
in San Diego, and it couldn't find through Ticketmasters all these common websites. So what it did, it wouldn't give up. It will still start search for some other sub pages or some other contents, and it managed to find some festival that's happening in about a year or so where this singer, where this band is going to just sing a single song, and gave us a link to where to buy this ticket concerts. I was
No
mind
way.
blown, and I was literally just sitting and looking at the screen how the operator like just goes to the page by page and does the search and communicates with you. I would still say it's not quite usable right now, but looking at where it's coming,
Yeah.
soon we are going to have like all personal AI agents that are gonna do all the tasks on our behalf. Well, not all, but a good part of it.
Yeah. The AI agent stuff is fascinating to me. Like I can see all these manual tasks that end up being AI agents. Like, yeah, people talk about the travel agent stuff, but for me, one of the ways I find guests for foreign founders is I'm subscribed to all these newsletters about fundraising, right?
Yeah.
But no one in the fundraising newsletter says company A with founder B and C are from our immigrant founders. Like I usually go to their LinkedIn, click their LinkedIn, and kind of look through their history
Yeah.
and maybe try to find it. It takes me so long to do that. And now I can see like, okay, down the line, an AI agent is basically going to look through all these newsletters, be able to categorize them, click through to LinkedIn, maybe search on Google to see if they end up being like immigrant or first gen founders. And then they can do an outreach for me. And I'll be like, that would be amazing.
Oh my God, I love how you optimize the processes. Yes, there are so many things we can optimize these days. It's mind blowing. It's mind
Yeah.
blowing how, yeah.
And for you said earlier that 2 years ago, you wish there were tools like that today. What are some interesting ways or advice that you have for founders, especially like non-technical founders who want to start a company or want to test hypotheses?
Mm-hmm.
What should they do with AI?
What should they do? So first of all, as soon as you have an idea, some of the best, there are multiple ways to validate it. Some could be done through customers interviews. Again, all depends on what you're focusing on. So as soon as you have initial phases of validation, you run your survey, whatsoever, the best it would be to deliver on this value and making sure that people are going to pay for the solution that you're about to build, right? So I would say one of the mistakes that we've done in the past, we were not trying to charge our users like right straight before we committed into building. And it's somewhat more difficult to do it for the B2C type of startup, contrary to business to business, where you can have your first client who would, for example, prepay for build of the entire solution. But then, yes, you take the tools, like whatever is the simplest, try to break it down so that your tool does good, just a single job, no more than a single job. I don't know, it can be email generator or email generator in a specific style. That's all it does. Like, no more features. Just focus on one little thing. You build it up, you share with your potential customers, you see what they say. Are they happy? They are not. Why? Try to figure it out. As soon as you will scale your startup from 0 to 1 and you have a single happy customer and it's not your parent and it's not your friend, that's a good sign. So then you can scale from 1 to 10. And at a certain point, when you feel that it goes well, and then you start getting additional issues, for example, scalability issues. You have too big interest in your startup, and you cannot handle the overflow of the flood of the users into your application, or you feel it's not secure enough, or you simply have no idea what's inside the code and you hardly know how to change it. That's probably the way when you would need to rebuild it from scratch. But before that, you got your proof of concept. And when you have a proof of concept, when you have first paying customers, it's much easier also to fundraise or join an accelerator program and build a team, right? So you can go two routes. You can go fundraising or join accelerator programs. So then you will have enough funds to kick it off and hire engineering team or bring on board some other founders. Or alternatively, if you can afford bootstrapping or trying to build a business on day one, for example, getting from $10 revenue to $100 revenue, and then like $1,000, $10,000. When you have 10,000 MRR with low costs, so it can already like support partially like salaries of the founding team or initial few engineers, and then you can take it from there. So I would definitely feel that in the future, when I would start another company, I would probably would not go VC first route, but I will try to bootstrap first and try to make actual money before I would like to scale and grow. And this is when I personally believe this is would work the best, right? They would accelerate your growth. They would make right introduction to right potential customers or investors, whatsoever.
Interesting. That's so what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is like, so you're not saying never VC or never venture capital, but you're saying first you want to approach building your company sustainably,
Yes.
making sure that you get revenue
Yeah.
as soon as possible, and it's like high quality
Yeah.
revenue.
You need to
Interesting.
find the right problem. You need to find the right problem, and then as you're approaching the building the solution and gaining product market fit, you would definitely, if you'd like to accelerate, if you'd like to be one step forward with your competition, then probably getting additional funds is might be inevitable at certain point. But yes, at first you need to figure out what are you solving, who are you solving it for. You know that this is a solution people are willing to pay your money for, and for doing that you don't need any money. I'm trying to prove myself the same, and I'm
Yeah.
trying actually to build a mini application just single-handedly myself. I already got 5 people who are willing to pay about 10 or $15, and that's for me a good kickstart, just to prove myself I can use just AI tools and probably a couple of technical advisors to build initial version application that is going to work, and I will see where it goes from there. So it's also
Yeah.
exciting, to try it out yourself and feel yourself as a mini coder or a hacker, and yeah, I will let you
Yeah.
know how it goes.
You can't preach what you're doing and not do it yourself.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that's probably a good segue into, yeah, what are you doing next, Elizabeth?
Wow. Well, a lot of opportunities started coming in right after the announcement of dissolution. And to be honest, the timing is perfect for your question, because today I officially starting a new role as a CEO of a FleetMind. Telling you briefly about what it does. So we are trying to digitalize the emergency repair industry that these days are quite manual and broken in many different ways. So we are trying to reduce downtime, improve communication, and optimize for the beginning fleet maintenance, and then hopefully expand to the rest of the repair industry in many of different ways. I'm extremely glad for having this opportunity, and it hasn't been official yet. So you're actually the first person to learn about that. So by the
Breaking
moment, I guess, this
news.
podcast is getting published, I'm going to announce in some public channels. But that's would be my primary focus from now on. Trying to build the product, grow the company, expand the company. And, in the meantime, I would probably continue teaching, maybe continue testing different concepts, just to, keep myself, my product skills sharp. So yeah, a lot of things to do.
Yeah, well, breaking news and congratulations, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
This is just the beginning. When you talked about the fleet management, what kind of fleet are these? These are like repair companies?
Yes, repair shops would be one of the target audiences for that. Yes, and it could go way beyond than that. For now, we are going to focus on repair shops that help fixing like semi trucks that just broke down on the road. And the major problem that we are trying to solve, that there is a significant downtimes, miscommunication between technicians, dispatchers, and also like bigger third parties, aggregators, and a customer, of course. So that's a new exciting space that I'm right now in. And as I try to learn more about the industry, the more I feel it really needs like some heavy software revamp. And I believe that technologies these days could enable and could improve so much more inefficiencies that I observe in this space. So I'm excited to work on that.
That's awesome. And in that industry, is it still like pretty much software zero, or are the software like super old dinosaur level
Yes.
softwares?
At least
It
this was
is.
my impression when I tested a couple of software applications of the competition.
Yeah.
Yes, it is looks like a dinosaur dinosaur age. There are some, but there are so many companies that are still like doing things manually. So literally, some of them are having a whiteboard where
Oh
they're
my God.
writing down the order, and when it's not streamlined, when it's not digitalized, you may even miss on a potential customer requests. So there is like some third parties aggregator where you can monitor who, for example, needs a repair. And if you just like having your like lunch at the meantime, you can just like simply miss on those requests. And if you're not like observing the board and last minute updates. So there's just like a lot. And I feel there are so many challenges to solve, that what makes it so exciting for me as for pretty much any product manager, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I have a couple last questions. The
Sure.
first one, you mentioned earlier when you made that post, people reached out to you. And even now, like people are reaching out to you for different opportunities. And what is so it's very clear that you are really good at networking and building a strong connection. What do you recommend or what do you advise for founders to do that?
So first of all, thank you, but I think I could do so much better than what I'm doing. Um, I would say it's a very hard question because this is what we were partially trying to solve with our previous company. Um, you just need to treat people differently and don't always treat relationship as a transactional exchange, right? This is what I can give you, this is what you can give me. But very frequently happened in my past, a person who is completely outside of your industry is just doing something entirely different, and you've got this point of connection and you find this individual interesting for you. Probably he or she could become a great friend, and it frequently happens in the future, your path crosses again, and then you end up being working together, or this person end up being helping you like finding a job or supporting you with marketing or with something else you would have never imagined in the past. So I like building these connections just for the sake of learning more about so many different exciting areas and spaces that probably I won't ever be like working in. And you never know what's happening. So just trying to reconnect, stay connected with these people once in a while when you travel to different cities, countries. I've been recently to New York City for the first time, and I literally wrote like almost every single connection I had on LinkedIn, even people I have no idea I like where did we meet. So I wrote to one of the founders that like, hi, I do not know how I know you, but maybe you would like to meet for a coffee. And she said yes, but unfortunately she was in New York City at the time. And that's a great part about that, right? Staying connected, having them in mind, trying to help somebody who needs your help right now. And it's difficult to manage your time, it's difficult to prioritize because everybody got like so many things to do, a lot of work. But I would say majority of my success comes from the network. It's not me doing something, but it's from working with right people, getting right introductions, and also helping others so that these people will return the favor back, or if they want, then it's also fine, right? I met a lot of great friends on Nevermind journey.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic place to end. My last question, which you answered last time as well, I hope you remember, is what are you optimistic about?
Oh my god, optimistic about. I would say it this way. 3 or 4 months ago, I would say was some of the hardest period of my life, professionally, personally, mentally, super hard. And I'm optimistic that it always gets better, no matter whether everything that's happening around are in your odds or not. You just need to take an action. And if you take even a little action in any direction that you want, you just don't stop in the same point. Opportunities come and things are changing for the best. So I would say I'm quite optimistic that no matter what's going to happen, where this entire AI frenzy is going to go, what's going to happen with the local economy, and with so many wars that are happening around, I'm optimistic that it's going to change, and it's going to change for better, some things for worse, but that's just the world that we live in. So we can, if each of us can make a right decision, um, or at least a small action that will pull us out of this stagnation, out of this feeling of being stuck and not knowing what to do. And it's simpler say than actually make an action. It took for me a while to just like start moving forward, but I'm quite positive about that.
Thank you for being on Foreign Founders again, Elizabeth. If people want to reach out to you, maybe ask about like AI, product building, or even about companies and how it's going for them, like where do you want to send them?
They could just write me on LinkedIn, and we get redirect ourselves like into the more, I would say, more convenient channel. Or you could also write to my personal email. It's eli dot Tishchenko, and that's a tricky surname to pronounce, Tishchenko @gmail.com. And I hope I can help you with your request, and I'm always happy to chat.
It was great to have you on the show.
Thank you a lot, Andy. Appreciate being here again, and probably we're gonna have a third episode sometime in another 18 months.
Yes, let's do that in the future. Thanks
Thank
again.
you a lot, Andy. Appreciate it. Bye.